If you have kidney disease, it's important to watch your intake of sodium, potassium, and phosphorus. Foods that contain high amounts include cola, brown rice, bananas, processed meats, and dried fruits. When the kidneys get hurt and can't work right, fluid can build up in your body and junk can pile up in your blood. Eating good stuff for your kidneys and keeping away from or only having a little bit of certain foods can help stop waste from building up in your blood, and it can help your kidneys work better and stop more damage too. Here's 17 foods you should try to not eat a lot or stay away from if you're on a kidney diet. But before that, like and subscribe for daily uploads like this. 1. Dark colored soda. Sodas contain more than just calories and sugar. They also have additives with phosphorus, particularly dark sodas. Lots of food and drink companies put phosphorus in during processing to make the flavors better, help the stuff last longer on shelves, and keep colors from changing. And your body soaks up this added phosphorus way more than the natural phosphorus from animals or plants. The additive phosphorus doesn't bind to protein like natural one does. Instead, it's a salt that your gut absorbs really easily. You can usually find additive phosphorus on an ingredient list, but companies don't have to say how much of it is actually in there. The amount changes depending on the soda, but a 12-ounce cola has around 5 milligrams. So, it's best to skip sodas, especially dark ones, if you're following a kidney diet. 2. Avocados. Avocados often get praised for their nutritious qualities, heart-healthy fats, fiber, antioxidants. But for people with kidney disease, they can be problematic due to their high potassium content. One average avocado has about 690 milligrams potassium, a hefty dose. So folks managing their potassium intake need to be mindful. Rather than nixing avocados completely, though enjoying a small portion, 1/4 avocado, can allow people with kidney issues to still reap some benefits while moderating potassium. And the bottom line is that avocados and guacamole tend to be avoided on renal diets. But individual needs vary, so staying focused on your overall dietary goals and health is key when deciding if you can enjoy avocados in moderation. 3. Canned foods. Canned stuff like soup, veggies, beans, it's cheap and easy, so people buy loads of it. But all that salt they put in to keep it good longer, killer on your kidneys, like mega amounts of sodium in those cans. So if your kidneys aren't happy, gotta limit the canned goods or choose low sodium ones. Look for no salt added on the label. That's a good bet. And if you just gotta have your canned tuna or beans or whatever, drain it and rinse it off real well first. You'd be shocked how much sodium you can ditch that way. And kidneys just can't take all that extra salt. Gotta help them out, let them work right. 4. Whole wheat bread. Now, figuring out what kind of bread to eat can be confusing when you have kidney problems. For most healthy people, nutritionists say whole wheat bread is better than white bread made with refined flour. Whole wheat has more fiber and nutrients, but for kidney patients, white bread is usually recommended over whole wheat bread. And this has to do with the phosphorus and potassium levels. More bran and whole grains means more phosphorus and potassium. For example, one regular slice of whole wheat bread, about 36 grams, has about 76 milligrams phosphorus and 90 milligrams potassium. But one slice of white bread, 28 grams, only has around 32 milligrams of both phosphorus and potassium. So eating one piece of whole wheat bread instead of two can help keep your potassium and phosphorus intake lower while still getting some whole wheat. One thing is that most types of bread have a good amount of sodium. So look at nutrition labels and choose a lower sodium option if you can. And keep an eye on portion sizes. 5. Brown rice. Brown rice is similar to whole wheat bread in that it's a whole grain that has more potassium and phosphorus than white rice. For example, each cup of cooked brown rice has about 149 milligrams of phosphorus and 95 milligrams of potassium, and compare that to white rice, where 1 cup cooked only has 69 milligrams of phosphorus and 54 milligrams of potassium. So brown rice definitely packs more nutrients, but for some folks with kidney issues, that higher phosphorus and potassium content could be a problem if portions aren't controlled. The daily recommended intake varies person to person, so you'd want to balance brown rice with other foods that are lower in phosphorus, like bulgur, buckwheat, pearled barley, or couscous. Ultimately, brown rice can work for a renal diet. You just can't go crazy with huge servings. Moderation and balance is key. 6. Bananas. Bananas got that good potassium most folks know about. One medium nanner gives you 422 milligrams potassium. If your doc said watch the potassium, bananas maybe ain't your best friend no more. And other tropical fruits can be high in potassium too, so you got to keep an eye. But pineapples, they don't have near as much. Pineapples can be a real tasty substitute if you dig that sweet tropical flavor, but got to limit the potassium. They only got about 21 milligrams per serving, so pineapples can let you keep enjoying a sweet treat without spiking your potassium levels if that's something you're supposed to do. 7. Dairy. Dairy's got a lot going for it. Protein, vitamins, minerals like phosphorus and potassium. A cup of whole milk packs a punch there. But too much dairy can be a bad thing if your kidneys aren't working right. And see, when they're damaged, extra phosphorus from food gets into your blood and starts pulling calcium from your bones. Not what you want if you're aiming for strong bones. Protein can be another issue for kidney trouble, since it makes waste that builds up in the blood when your kidneys are working below their pay grade. So while a splash of milk in your coffee or a little yogurt with breakfast is probably fine, you got to be careful with dairy if your kidneys aren't operating at full capacity. Moderation and balance is key. 8. Oranges and orange juice. While oranges and OJ may be best known for their vitamin C, they also bring a lot of potassium to the table. A large orange has about 333 milligrams of potassium, and a cup of orange juice packs nearly 460 milligrams of the mineral. So for people limiting potassium, like those with kidney issues, oranges and their juice should be avoided or kept to a minimum, and good fruit swaps are grapes, apples, cranberries, and their juices. They give you flavor and nutrients without overdoing potassium. 9. Processed meats. Processed meats have long been linked to chronic illnesses and are typically seen as unhealthy because of the preservatives they contain. These meats have been salted, dried, cured, or canned to preserve them. Examples include hot dogs bacon, pepperoni, beef jerky, and sausage. And a lot of salt is added to processed meats, mostly to improve the flavor and keep it preserved longer. So if you eat a lot of processed meats, it can be tricky to limit your daily sodium intake to less than 2,300 milligrams. These meats also tend to be high in protein. If your doctor has told you to watch your protein intake, it's important to go easy on processed meats for that reason too. 10. Pickles, olives, and relish. Pickles, olives, and relish are some examples of foods that have been cured or pickled. A good amount of salt is usually added when curing or pickling foods to preserve them. And for instance, just one little pickle spear could have around 283 milligrams of sodium, which is a lot. Similarly, 2 tablespoons of sweet pickle relish has 244 milligrams of sodium. Processed olives tend to be pretty salty too, since they are cured and fermented to reduce bitterness. Just 5 little green pickled olives provide about 211 milligrams of sodium, a big portion of the recommended daily amount from a small serving. Many grocery stores now offer reduced sodium varieties of pickles, olives, and relish with less salt than the normal kinds. 11. Apricots. Apricots pack a punch when it comes to nutrition. They've got ample amounts of vitamin C, vitamin A, fiber, and potassium. In fact, every cup of fresh apricot slices has about 427 milligrams of potassium. And get this, dried apricots are even more potassium dense, with over 1,500 milligrams potassium per cup. So we're talking 75% of the daily 2,000 milligrams potassium limit in just a single cup of dried apricots. Pretty crazy. For people following a renal diet or any low potassium plan, apricots as a whole should probably be avoided, but especially the dried versions. The concentrated potassium content is just too high and could easily push someone over their daily allowance. It's best to seek out alternative fruit options lower in potassium, but for everyone else, apricots can be a tasty way to get some key vitamins and minerals. Just stick to reasonable portions to keep the potassium in check. 12. Potatoes and sweet potatoes. Potatoes and sweet potatoes sure pack a punch when it comes to potassium. A single baked potato of average size has about 610 milligrams, while a comparable sweet potato has 542 milligrams. And of course, for some folks with kidney issues who need to limit potassium, these veggie powerhouses can be tricky to fit into a healthy diet. Luckily, there are some tricks to get around the high potassium content. Methods like boiling or soaking can reduce levels a good bit. Starting with cold water when you boil potatoes seems to work best, taking out quite a lot of potassium. Simply letting spuds sit in water for 5-10 minutes can cut levels by up to 20%. This soak-boil way of doing things has a nickname, the double cook method. Now, the double cook doesn't totally eliminate potassium, so it's not a free pass to eat all the potatoes you want. There's still a decent amount left, even after the water treatments. Portion control is key if you really need to watch your potassium totals.